Hello and welcome. Today we are going to tackle a big topic, the world of capital markets. Now, I know that sounds complicated, maybe even a little intimidating, but really, it's the engine that powers our entire economy. And more importantly, it's one of the best tools you have to make your own money grow. So, let's jump right in.
This is a question pretty much all of us ask ourselves. You work hard for your money, right? But how do you get that money to start working hard for you? That is the big question, and that's exactly what we're going to answer. Think of this as a journey to figure that out.
And every good journey needs a map, so here's ours. We're going to start with the basics. What are these markets anyway? Then we'll dig into why they're so important. After that, we'll look at the basic tools you can use, meet the key people and institutions involved, and finally, figure out how you can start planning your own journey. It's a simple, step-by-step path.
Okay, first stop. What in the world are capital markets? Before we can start exploring, we've got to have a good map of the terrain. Let's lay it all out. So at its very core, a capital market is just a massive, organized marketplace. But instead of buying and selling, say, cars or clothes, people are buying and selling financial securities. It's basically a giant meeting place that connects people who have extra money, that's us, the investors, with companies or governments who need that money to build, grow, and create new things.
Now, this marketplace actually has two different sides to it. First, you've got the primary market. This is where a company creates brand new shares of itself and sells them for the very first time. Think of it like buying a new phone directly from the factory. It's fresh off the line. Then you have the secondary market. This is what most of us think of when we hear the stock market. Here, investors are just trading those same shares amongst themselves. The company isn't really involved anymore. It's just a huge auction where the price is set by what people are willing to pay each other.
Okay, so we know what this marketplace is, but why should we care? Why is it so unbelievably important? Well, in this next part, we're going to see why it's called the engine of the economy and why it really does matter to all of us, not just the finance pros. The big idea here is that capital markets are what fuel economic growth. Seriously. They take all the money that's just sitting around in savings accounts and put it to work. That money funds everything, from a cool new tech startup to a major expansion for a huge company. It gives all of us a chance to invest and build our own wealth. And get this, every single day, the ups and downs of the market act like a real-time report card on the health of the entire economy.
And this quote just nails it. It's a perfect analogy. If you think of the economy as a living, breathing body, then the capital markets are the arteries. They make sure that money, the economy's lifeblood, is always flowing to where it's needed the most. It keeps everything running, healthy, and growing.
All right, it is time to gear up. For this next section, we're looking at the basic tools of the trade. If this is a journey, this is the part where we pick out our essential equipment. First up, the most well-known tool in the box, stocks. The concept is actually pretty simple. When you buy a stock, you are literally buying a tiny little piece of that company. You become a part owner. So if the company does well and makes a lot of profit, the value of your tiny piece can go up right along with it.
The other key tool is a bond. Now this is totally different. When you buy a bond, you're not buying a piece of the company. You're actually lending money to that company, or maybe to the government. In return for your loan, they promise to pay you back the full amount on a specific date, and you get regular interest payments along the way. With a bond, you're not the owner, you're the lender.
And this little chart here just lays it all out perfectly. With stocks, you're an owner. You're hoping for big growth, but you also take on the risk that the value could go way up or way down. With bonds, you're a lender. Your return is usually a steady, predictable interest payment. So it really comes down to your goals. Are you looking for long-term growth? Stocks might be your tool. Need something more stable with predictable income? Bonds could be the answer. So we have our tools. Now what? Well, no one goes on a journey like this completely alone. It's time to meet the key players, the guides, if you will, who make this whole marketplace function. So first up, you have the issuers. These are the companies and governments that get the whole ball rolling because they need money to make things happen. Their job is pretty straightforward. They create and sell those stocks and bonds to raise the cash they need to, run their business, build new factories, or fund big public projects.
Next, let's talk about the brokers. Think of these guys as your professional tour guides for the marketplace.
See, you can't just wander into the stock exchange and start shouting orders. You need a licensed broker. They are the essential link between you and the market, and they're the ones who actually place your buy and sell orders for you. And last, but definitely not least, we have the regulator. In this case, we're talking about the Qatar Financial Markets Authority.
You can think of them as the referee or the watchtower overlooking the entire market, making sure everybody plays fair. Their entire job is about one thing: trust. They set the rules of the game to make sure it's fair and transparent. They work to protect investors from scams and make sure everyone follows the law. Honestly, without a strong regulator, the whole market just wouldn't work.
Okay, we've mapped the world, we've got our tools, and we've met the guides. Now, for our final section, let's make this personal. How do you actually begin your own journey?
Look, before you invest a single dollar, you need a plan. And a good plan always starts with asking yourself some really honest questions. Why are you even doing this? Are you saving for retirement in 30 years or for a down payment on a house in 3? And how much risk are you really comfortable with? The answers to these questions will guide every single decision you make. They are the foundation for everything else.
And finally, here is some wisdom that has stood the test of time. First, actually understand what you're buying. Don't just jump on a trend because you saw it online. Second, have a plan for when to take your profits and a plan for when to cut your losses. Both are going to happen. And most importantly, be patient. Building real wealth is almost always a marathon, not a sprint. Wow, okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from what a capital market even is, all the way to the core principles for success. We've given you the map, the tools, and introduced you to the guides. So really, there's only one question left, and it's right there for you to see. The whole journey starts with just one small step. And now, you've got the knowledge you need to decide what that first step is going to be.